Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2, and I'm back again with another video review. I just recently watched Secret of Solomon's Temple Revealed, and it talks about how the whole idea of serpent worship has been in our culture for eons, and it all began with St. Patrick. It actually wasn't the fact that he was driving the serpents out of Ireland, it was the fact of the matter that he was driving a serpent worshipping cult out of Ireland. And I of course I didn't remember this, but I remembered something that I had read about this very thing, and it talks about how the serpent itself is the symbol for knowledge, and it can either be for good or for evil. And the author or the filmmaker says that knowledge is actually found within ourselves, or the divine is found within ourselves. And I like this film, but there are a lot of things. Well, actually, there's one thing that there are two things that I didn't care for. One was the music, and one of the choices of music that he used in the background was quite distracting. It was really heavy metal. I would actually consider it more like death metal. And then the other was they kept superimposing images upon themselves, and it just was unnecessary. It was very confusing. He talks about the only thing I think that he gets wrong here is that Solomon's temple in the Bible, it says that it was not built with human hands. He goes to conjecture saying that Temple of Solomon is actually found within ourselves. It's knowledge, and by renewing ourselves daily and removing all these desires from ourselves, that we reach true enlightenment. And yeah, I've heard this before, but I do believe that Solomon's temple actually did exist, because it's in the Bible. If you look in the Bible and go through First Kings and Second Kings and read of the mass store of treasure that he had, and everything that was carried away by Babylon. And he talks about how Babylon itself is allegorical for sin, and when the temple was destroyed, it was actually destroyed by sin, and then the Jews that were left as the remnant rebuilt the temple. And I thought, he talks about how Eve was manifestation of the serpent. Bathsheba, Bath means of the house, and Sheba's a snake. Also talks about Abraham means man of the snake, and this theme actually perpetuates itself throughout biblical literature, particularly the Gnostic Bible. It talks about the Book of Thomas and how Jesus Christ himself, and I've read the Book of Thomas, I've read the pseudepigrapha and the apocryphal novels. One of them was the Book of Judas, and all of them are extremely interesting and very fascinating if you ever have a chance to read them. I just consider it more knowledge and of learning about Jesus and his teachings. And I guess you can consider me agnostic in and of the truest sense of the word. And let's see what else. I talked about Abraxas, and actually abracadabra comes from Abraxas, the word abracadabra, and it's again another perpetuation of the serpent. Just trying to remember what else he said. Arthurian legend. King Arthur was a modern retelling of the serpent worship of the time. And Arthur, when he marries Guinevere is the queen of the snakes. Arthur is a spiritual savior. Man and woman, Adam and Eve. El is the man, and Eve, I can't remember, Asherah? Yeah, Asherah. I do believe he said it was Asherah. They unite to form the perfect, well, they have Abel and then Cain, and then Cain slew Abel, and Seth came out of the second sexual union that Adam and Eve had. Of course, I've been reading Genesis, so all of this is very appropriate. Coincidence? I think not, because in the new year we always start with the Genesis and Matthew from the beginning, and then we go all the way to Revelation at the very end of the year. So that's what we do every year. I was trying to remember what else he said. What else did he say? He forgot the whole idea that a lot of earthquakes destroyed temples in the past, and they failed to mention that, and that was kind of a historical geological fact that he just omitted completely, I think. Other than that, I think this film is really fascinating, but it just brings to mind mythology and religion, and kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit. And yeah, knowledge is power, but I was just kind of curious, where does this leave me as a person of faith? And I guess I'm not religious per se. I'm a spiritualist, and of course a lot of people would probably look at me and think, what? And they wouldn't see that coming. I mean, I wear a cross around my neck, for heaven's sake. But it's more than a symbol to me. It's first of all, it's a gift from my mother, and the diamond in the middle is from my stepdad. Of course, I never knew my stepdad, but that's a long story. I'm not going to go into that right now. I just consider it, it's not a sign of despair. It's more of a sign of hope. The Catholics, they wear a cross that has Christ hanging on it. We wear a cross without Christ because of the hope of the resurrection. Just wondering what else I should say about this Temple of Solomon, and how he says it's not a physical temple. It's more of a concept. I don't think that's true. He talks a lot about quantum mechanics. He talks about interconnectivity, which I spoke of before in the other DVD, and my dad was looking at it and says, oh, this is going over my head, and I'm trying to make it more accessible to him by explaining it, and some of the concepts, even for me, are really challenging, and I don't agree with everything that this man said, but I'm actually going to read the back of it. And Secret of Solomon's Temple Revealed. For generations, scholars and researchers have tried in vain to discover the fabled Temple of Solomon, only to be confronted by one problem after another. From the Queen of Sheba to the arcane secrets of the Christian Gnostics to the Muslim, Sufi, and Hindu avatars, this film weaves a tale that is both profound and precise. Gardner's the producer here. Gardner declares that the truth of Solomon's temple has been known all along within the realm of esoteric understanding. Only one question remains: is the world ready for the truth? Find the true secret of the Knights Templar and the mysteries of the ancients and the truth for yourself in Gnosis. And Gnosis means knowledge. He also talks about alchemy, which was one of my favorite things, is, if you didn't know from my screen name. This is the story that has been kept from the ears of mankind for too long. You cannot truly live until you have Gnosis. Reveals the real secrets brought back from the infamous Knights Templar. The truth of the heart of ancient Freemasonry, the truth behind the real Grail, and the Da Vinci Code, the secrets of Solomon's Temple, the ancient and sacred nature of our quantum existence. And the whole idea of quantum entanglement is the idea that we are all basically part of the same consciousness, a divine consciousness, so to speak. And I agree with this. I think that, like Carl Sagan said, we're all made of star stuff, and we all eventually dissolve back into the star stuff from which we were created. I absolutely concur with this. That this is not conjecture. This is truth. This is evident. This is evident in our DNA. I mean, from our very structure. And we should remember that we are all part of the same race of human beings, and knowledge can be used in either constructive ways or in malevolent ways that would bring forth our ultimate doom. And I just wanted to point that out. That was the crux of the film itself, but there's some gaping flaws in it, like I said, but other than that, it's well worth a look at if you don't get distracted by some of the background music, which was kind of overbearing, I thought, and very irritating. And the superimposed images I just thought were too conflicting and adultating. But other than that, it's really quite a good film to look at if you're like me and fascinated by quantum physics and quantum mechanics and the whole theory of entanglement.